We're with Gerald Watson, who is a candidate for City Council in Kamloops in this fall election of 2018. Gerald, are there any social justice causes you're personally active in or at least interested in?
I don't know that I have anything I'm involved in that would fall under the social justice umbrella, but I've been very interested in community things for my entire time living here. I have a soft spot in my heart for kids. I spent 22 years on the board of directors for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Kamloops. I've been involved in community futures and youth lending projects, and at the Rotary Club of Kamloops I've been involved in some community dinner initiatives and other things of that nature.
Do you support a living wage for all working people?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
A living wage, there's a living wage group that sets a wage that would be a sort of a basic income for a family of four to ensure they can afford housing and food and clothing, education, these sorts of things. In Kamloops, it's about $17.50 an hour or $18, somewhere around there.
I think I'd have to be better educated on the topic to say anything intelligent.
Okay. What do you think is a fair minimum wage?
I think the British Columbia minimum wage is set too low. I think it should have tracked inflation over the last several years, and currently there's a problem that because it got too low, you wind up having an economic shock when you try to raise it. I don't have any idea what the appropriate minimum wage is, but I think it's too low at present.
Okay. The food banks first appeared in Canada in the early 80s, and their usage has only increased since then. Why do you think that is?
I'm not really sure. I do certainly support the food bank. I'm leaving here to go assist in collecting and sorting the food for the Rotary Food Drive that's running this morning.
Okay. What do you think is Council's role when faced with epidemics like the fentanyl crisis or the lack of affordable housing?
Council certainly got an interest in it because the local fire departments, the local police departments are funded at the city level. They've got to take an interest in it. Some of these problems are huge, and they require resources that would have to come from the provincial or federal level. I think the city's role is to facilitate, seek out what resources are available, and make sure they're put to good use.
Okay. What would you do on council specifically to help eliminate homelessness?
I don't have any direct plans. I think certainly assisting the agencies that are stepping into the fold, making sure that they're able to tap the resources that are available at the provincial and federal level. I certainly think there's room to revisit some of the other manners in which this has been dealt with historically. I think we should start looking at some of the shelters and institutions that were available in the 70s, actually.
What do you think is a city councillor's job when faced with controversial development projects like Ajax?
I think they've got to take an interest in it. I mean, Ajax is a unique item, but I think the role of City Council is to ensure that you have an environment in which you can have economic growth. You've got to ensure that environmental concerns are dealt with. And I think you've got to facilitate the community dealing with the item, but I can't really speak any further than that.
What do you think is a reasonable income for a top earner in our society?
Some
folks would call it a maximum income or a maximum wage.
Maximum income?
Yeah.
I can't say that I really have an opinion on that.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the current state of public transit and transportation infrastructure in Kamloops?
I think that there is room for more transit. I would like to see better service so that it's viable to use public transit. That said, we've got to stay alive to the fact that the way Kamloops is built, the population density isn't there to make it as economically viable as it is in some of the larger cities.
How would you address density issues then?
Well, it's not really for me to address. It's something you got to recognize. But we've got suburban sprawl. It's partially the historical nature of Kamloops. It was 5 cities that grew together that were amalgamated in '79. I certainly think if you want more transit, you've got to facilitate denser housing. I think it might be overreaching to try to force Kamloops into a dense housing model, though.
What do you hope Kamloops will look like in 20 years?
I would like to see the university continue to grow. I would like to see more high-tech sector jobs. I'd like to see a greater presence of the provincial agencies. And I'd like to see it continue to be a nice place to live and raise a family.
Once elected, what will be your top priority? Are there any burning issues you want to see resolved or finally addressed?
Personally, I want to see a core review done of the city. I think we should take inventory of everything that the city is doing, make sure that it's not overreaching its mandate, make sure that what we're doing well, and that we're doing it efficiently.
Great. Thanks for your time.
Wonderful.
Good luck.
Thank you.